So, wow. I feel like just I was on that stage something like 3 minutes ago, and it was this morning. But that's it. I mean, I'm super happy and proud that Gillian has made the possibility to be with us today. And some of you may know me around keynote speakers. So I used to say two things: no marketing bullshit, and please talk about you. So I'm pretty sure that what she want and gonna do, and I hope that you're gonna find that very inspiring. I know part of it, and I'm already inspired about it. So floor is yours. Please welcome Guy and Bruce.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, hello. What's up, French Touch Riemann? What a day, right? I'm really honored to be here. Jean-Michel and team, let's give them a huge round of applause. It's been pretty incredible to be here all day and meet new people and see all the connections happening. You listened to Jessica this morning, so good job. You've completed the assignment. I want to close off the day with a really kind of special way to think about how you make your impact in the world. And I'm going to introduce a really fun framework to you. There's going to be a handful of puns. I'm just warning you ahead of time. So hopefully they still translate into, French culture. I don't know. But if you don't get something, it's probably a joke that I didn't land well. So let's go ahead and kind of get into it. I'm Gillian Bruce. I'm an admin evangelist at Salesforce. I've been at Salesforce 13 years. Like Jessica, I started when I was 10. Just because I have to do the CYA slide, as we all do at Salesforce, forward-looking statement. Reminder to only make purchasing decisions based on currently available features and functionality. Okay, now with that out of the way. Never delivered that slide before. So let's talk about how you can amplify your impact. One of the themes that I've actually heard today in every single session is about how to do work that matters and the impact that has on others. And one of the really special things of being in this Trailblazer community is that everyone is doing work that matters and doing work that matters to others because you're helping each other, right? We had a panel today of golden hoodies, right? And the reason they get that award is because they are doing work that helps impact others. We're all here today because this amazing team is doing work that's impacting all of us, enabling us to be here today and connect with each other and grow. So, with that, I want to really say thank you. I mean, of course, huge thank you to the team, but thank you to you all, right? This is the first time I think a lot of you have been to a Salesforce event. I mean, let's be clear, it's not a Salesforce event, it's a Salesforce community event, but it's probably the first time you've been to either a Salesforce event or a Dreamin' event, or in the last few years, it's the first time you're coming together in person, and that can be a lot. So I want to kind of take a moment, give yourself some gratitude, and really appreciate the fact that you've decided to take the day off today, make the trek here, whether it was via train or plane or automobile, to invest in yourself and to invest in your career and to invest in your community. So thank you. So Jean-Michel made it very clear that I was to talk about myself, which I really have a hard time doing. But I'm gonna keep it brief and relevant. And I'm gonna start with my journey slide. You saw Jessica's journey slide earlier today. We do have a template for these things at Salesforce. So I want to talk a little bit about my journey because this gives context for why I'm going to talk about the impact of the work that you're doing. So I was born and raised in San Francisco in California, the Bay Area, and I was lucky enough to get into University of California at Berkeley, Cal, go Bears. I was wildly unprepared for university. I was a valedictorian of my high school class, and within the first 2 semesters at Cal, I was failing every single class. I was having a little too much fun, maybe. Wasn't quite ready, so I actually had to take a break. So I took a little break, moved down to San Diego, decided to become a surfer chick and get all the wiggles out. And after about 3 years of that, I was finally ready to come back and complete my degree. And when I came back, I was a little bit of an older student, right? So I had a little bit more of a perspective of what I wanted to do that really made a difference in my view. And so I actually made up my own major. I did interdisciplinary studies. It was all about bioethics. Now, I'm a huge biology nerd. I grew up wanting to be a marine biologist. I have been scuba diving all over the world, and I am a total nerd, and I wish that I could just study jelly things in the lab all day. To be fair, I did an internship at that, and I was totally bored. So when I came back to finish my degree, I decided I want to do something in this space that matters. And what I saw was an opportunity. I really liked the science, but there weren't a lot of people talking about how to, the policy of some of these new technologies, right? Really cool sci-fi things like synthetic biology and GMOs. I know you're a huge fan of those here in Europe. So I really wanted to look at the policy side, the impact of what these technologies were going to bring. And so I made it my own major. It actually led me to go work for a nonprofit right out of college. I went to Washington, D.C., so I could get my taste of winter. Anyone who knows D.C., they're like, really, that's winter compared to Chicago, compared to New York? No, it was winter for me. But I was working for a nonprofit there, Friends of the Earth, and I was working on as a genetic technologies campaigner. Ooh. Basically nerding out and doing everything that I studied in school, but working on congressional testimony, doing a bunch of media work, doing a bunch of writing articles, running campaigns, and it was great. I really loved my experience, but that nonprofit salary was kind of rough. Living in DC on a nonprofit salary straight out of college, I couldn't pay rent. So I catered, I worked at a steakhouse. That's how I was paying my bills. And it hit me at one moment. I was like, so by day I am working on a sustainable foods campaign, and by night I'm slinging steaks. Something is off here. So I knew it was kind of time to make a change, and I was done with winter. So I moved on back to San Francisco, and I was a little lost then. I didn't really know what I was going to do because I needed to pay my bills, but I also felt like I kind of failed. I didn't save the world. What was I going to do now? Well, a friend of mine was working at this technology company called Salesforce, and she was like, hey, my VP is looking for an administrative assistant, and I think you should interview for the job. And I was like, administrative assistant? Come on. I don't want to manage calendars. I don't want to order lunches for people, but I do need a job. So interviewed for the role. Fun fact, I was the second choice for the role. They offered it to someone. They turned it down, called me back 6 weeks later. I'm like, do you still want this job? I'm like, yes, I do, and pay me more money. It worked. I got hired, but I got hired as an administrative assistant. And that's not what I had envisioned for myself, right? But it was an opportunity to get to know tech, to get to know how to work in a larger organization. And, I made some connections. I did a lot of calendar management. I did a lot of ordering lunches. Actually, I rolled out the first ever Google form at Salesforce to help people self-serve and order lunches, and people were like, oh my gosh, she's so smart. They had no idea. But what was great about that is my VP that I was working for at the time told me, hey, give me a year, and after that year, I'm going to go off and work in venture capital, and you can pick any of my direct reports to work for. And I was like, okay, all right, cool, here we go, this is the deal. And for me, that was a moment where I really kind of had an important choice to make, right? Like, who do I want to work for in this space? She was the VP of Technology and Program Management. Super nerds. Great. Super close to the product that I still didn't understand what Salesforce was after working there a year. And I chose to kind of go the communications route. So the job that I was then able to take was the job that helped build out trust.salesforce.com. Does anyone remember when releases used to require multiple hours of downtime? Anybody? Old school? Okay. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, releases used to require multiple hours of downtime. While I was in that role, we rolled out something called zero downtime releases. And so now you get that notification when you log in and you totally ignore it because it doesn't really matter, right? So I learned a lot about how to translate very technical concepts and technical events into like normal human language that people could understand. Because every time we did a change like that, I need to notify the Salesforce admins about what we were changing. So after doing that for a few years, I got tired of getting called at 3 a.m. when something in the data center would go wrong, and they needed someone who understood language to translate from data center nerd into actual language that people, normal people, Salesforce admins could understand. So again, it was a time of exploration for me. And I did the normal kind of thing that you do. You have a lot of coffee dates with people just to be like, so what do you do? Do you like it? What do you think about me doing that? You know, very clearly just looking for another job. So at that time, I met someone whose name might sound familiar to some of you. She's currently our CMO, Sarah Franklin. But at that time, this is back in 2013, Sarah Franklin had just come back to Salesforce after taking a year and working at AWS. And she was just a regular old product marketer. And she had come back to Salesforce with an idea. And the idea was, hey, we do all of this great programming at Salesforce to support our developers, right? The people who code and build apps on the platform in a really technical way. But we don't do any programs or support for our declarative developers. I was like, oh, I know who those are. Those are the Salesforce admins that I communicate with all the time. She was like, yes. A week later, she's like, you know, I want you to like meet some folks. I walk into a meeting. It was a full-on panel interview, and she had not told me. So she's sneaky like that. So needless to say, we were off to the races, and she and I started building a program all about enabling Salesforce admins. And it was really fun, and it was really crazy. I was not a trained marketer at all. But she was like, yeah, Gillian, build a website. Yeah, go ahead, Gillian, send out a newsletter. You know, the good stuff, no fluff digest, admin digest? We started that way back then. And it was originally called the Awesome Admin Roundup. So glad we changed that name. But what we were really guided were values of good stuff, no fluff, right? Salesforce was so good at getting on stage at Dreamforce and saying, look how beautiful these things are that we built. It's so easy, you can totally do that. And the admins would come out of Dreamforce and be like, what? I can't explain. When boss says that I want that, I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So we really focused on really staying true to trying to, you know, really thoughtfully enable admins to make the changes and solve problems using Salesforce. And honestly, at that point, I still didn't really know what Salesforce did, okay? I had taken Admin 201 and not gotten it. But at that point, I was getting connected with the community because the awesome admin community already existed. All we did was recognize it. We said, oh, these people are already self-organizing on Twitter. They're self-organizing at, you know, user group meetings. Let's tap into that network and see what content they're creating, what problems they're solving, how they're enabling each other. And that is how we were able to build the program. It wasn't content that we at Salesforce were creating. It was tapping into this incredible network, this incredible community of people trying to help each other and elevating those stories and elevating that knowledge and those people to help further connect and amplify. We also created a space for admins at Dreamforce for the first time in 2014. We had big, huge superhero flags hanging over in the atrium. We had like Super De Duper and Mobile Avenger. We had a lot of fun. We had no idea what we were doing. But what we got is a lot of great feedback from the community that it was working. People felt seen, they felt recognized, they felt that they got opportunities. We had the first ever admin keynote and awarded the first ever Awesome Admin Award to Cheryl Feldman, who is now a product manager at Salesforce. But we awarded it to her because she had transformed her career from being a hairdresser, throwing her shoulder out, and then being a secretary and having Salesforce come across her plate. And she was like, ooh, this is cool, and built her entire career on it. And that, honestly, is also the origin of the Golden Hoodie Award that you now see people walking around with. But the reason I want to really kind of tell that is because it was about doing work that was impactful, right? We were amplifying the impact of what people were doing for each other and really focusing on the values that we had. And from there, there were more things. We had Michael Gerholt join us in the program, the original button click admin. He was like, hey, Gillian, you should host a podcast with me. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Don't ever listen to the first ever episode that I did. It's a lot of this. It's really embarrassing. It's like a mix between Darth Vader and I don't know. It's bad. But hey, we've now been doing it for, 8 years. By the way, if you've never listened to the Salesforce Admins podcast, it comes out every Thursday. There's one that comes out today. It's probably in your ready right now. It's a good episode. Listen to it. Shameless plug. I'm going to do a few of those. Now, the other reason, one of the reasons that I'm here today, though, right, is Jean-Michel actually cornered me right before the main keynote at Dreamforce this year. I was running around with a microphone and a big TV, not big TV, but a video crew, and shoving my mic into people's faces and being like, are you excited to be at Dreamforce? And as soon as he saw the cameras on, he's like, hi, so Gillian, come explain to everybody why you do this. Why are you doing these things? Help tell your story. And so that's why I'm here today, to kind of share what's behind the very visible things that you see me do, and how we get there, and how you can get there and decide what that amplification looks like for you. Okay. The computer's there. So we're going to have a lot of fun, because I'm going to introduce a tremendously fun metaphor for you. I'm telling you, it's going to get real bad. Warning, warning. So, I was really lucky. I grew up in San Francisco, which meant when I went to summer camp, I got to go camp with the amazingly impressive California redwoods. Has anyone here seen a redwood in person? Okay, so like half of you. That's awesome. The other half of you do it sometime in your life. These are some of the oldest living organisms on Earth, thousands of years old. They are stories and stories high. They are some of the tallest trees in the world. They're incredibly impressive. You cannot look at one of these trees and not be like, whoa, okay. But what you see above ground, while it is super impressive, what you don't see is what's below ground. Redwoods have one of the most complex root systems in the world. They are all intertwined with each other. The trees literally talk to each other with their root systems. They are so big. So these are redwood trees. And here is half of a root of a redwood tree. And if I were actually to be standing in front of this, I would be like this. They're huge, huge. And so the metaphor I want to really get into today, to introduce this framework about finding ways to make impact in your life, is a tree. Because what you see me do, what you may see me on the podcast, see me on broadcast, see me running around like a crazy person in a keynote room, all of that is only the visible part of all of the rest of the base and the work and all of the effort that me and my team and everybody has put in to then get that end result. So, you ready for framework? Of course you are. Look at this beautiful tree that I totally drew myself. So let's talk. Everybody knows what a tree, how a tree survives, right? You got roots, you got trunks, you've got branches and leaves. Today, we're going to kind of break down into 3 parts how you can really make an impactful, how you can make impact in the work that you do. And it starts with how you discover your values. Then you develop skills. Everybody knows I'm very passionate about skills. And then how you amplify that impact. So as you can tell, I kind of got a theme going here, so we're going to further build that out. So what you see is the top, right? You see the leaves, you see the branches. These are the things for me that I am very proud of, and for me, that's what I view as my leaves and my branches and the things that people see, and they're like, oh, look what Gillian's doing. And I'm like, yeah, it's really fun, but it takes a lot to get there. The way you get there is by developing skills. Now, for me, These are the skills that I've developed and honed that have enabled me to produce the leaves and the branches that you all have been able to see. And this is going to be different for everyone. And don't worry, at the end, you're going to get your own tremendous impact template that you can fill out yourself. So for me, these were the skills, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about skills in a second, but you can't develop the skills if you don't have values to guide those skills. So for me, my values are impact, passion, and joy. I'm going to help you today to start identifying what your values are. And since it all starts with values, because that's the root of the tree, you can't have a tree without really strong roots, probably should figure out what are values, right? So this is a very general definition in case anyone is curious what a value is, but values really are they're like basic fundamental beliefs that guide or motivate your actions. I mean, think about it, right? These values are things that like you hold so deep inside that really you can fall back on, you can lean on when you're trying to figure out what to do next, what move to do. Now, Salesforce, as we tell everyone all the time, is a values-driven company. Yeah, Jessica's laughing. How many times have you presented this slide? Yeah. So, yeah, second time you're seeing it. I was laughing when you said it this morning. So Salesforce is a values-driven company, and you'll see this in every corporate presentation that you see, like a Dreamforce keynote. But trust, customer success, innovation, equality, and sustainability are really important to Salesforce. And at the onset of when Mark and Parker created Salesforce, they started with core values. Now, to be fair, it was only trust, customer success, and innovation at that time. Over the years, we have added equality, we've added sustainability. But if you look at everything that Salesforce has done, all the decisions that we've made as a company in terms of what to invest in, where to put resources, how to direct the product, these values have guided every decision. And it's what has created the success for the company that, has spawned this incredible ecosystem. So being a values-driven company can help you find success as a company. But what about being a values-driven person and using that to drive your own success? So we do a really funny exercise at Salesforce every now and then. It's called, I don't even know what we call it. It's like a values exercise. You get a pack of like 50 cards, and on each card is a value. And so this is literally like a screenshot of what some of the values are, like determination, learning, fun. I love that value. It was between fun and joy for me, but joy made it to the last round. So what you do in this exercise, and I'm going to walk you through it because I'm going to want you to mentally start thinking about this because I'm going to ask you to do something in just a second. No, you're not all getting cards. I couldn't bring those to me with Paris, in my suitcase to Paris. I had to pack other clothes. Come on. It's Paris. You got to wear fun clothes. So what we do in this exercise is you kind of go through all of these 50 cards, and you're like, just pick out the ones that speak to you the most. Well, I ended up with like 30 cards that I was like, I care so much about these 30 values. I was like, okay, well, now you got to take it down to 10. I'm like, oh, I can't get rid of them, get down to 10. So it's hard. It's a ruthless prioritization. You get down to 10, and then they're like, oh, no, get down to 5. Okay, do I care about equality or responsibility? That's really hard. But what it does is it really forces you to focus in. And then eventually they say, okay, cut 2 more, you got to get 3. And that's how I came up with my 3 values of impact, passion, and joy. Now, I want you to start thinking about, maybe just start with one value that you already think about, that you think is really important to you. It doesn't have to be any of the ones on the screen. There are plenty of values that probably are not on there, but this is kind of a way to brainstorm. I want you to think about a value that is important to you and maybe how it is guided or already guided, or you want to use it to help guide some of the work that you do. So since we're all so chatty-patty at the end of the day, I want you to take 30 seconds, turn to someone near you. It doesn't have to be next to you. You could do, you can, I was going to say an inappropriate thing that wouldn't work. Menage, what? Anyway, so turn to the person next to you, and just for the next 30 seconds, explain one of the values that really speaks to you. And then maybe just start having a conversation about how maybe that has guided some of your work or how you maybe like to see it. Okay, ready? Ready, set, go. 15 more seconds. 15 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. You know, sometimes you do these exercises and you ask people to like talk to each other and it's like silence. This is amazing. So thank you all for playing along with me. So in traditional fashion, I would love to maybe hear some people shout out some of the values that speak to them. So anybody want to just, courage, got it. Joy, yeah, I love that. Sorry? Calm. Yeah, that's clearly not one of my values. But I need to surround myself with people like you. Anybody else want to shout out? Equality. What else did I hear? Family. I love that. Okay. See, this is really fun, right? It's really easy. Now I want you to think about what are the 3 that you're going to focus on, because clearly, I think a lot of us could pick any of these and say they're important, but if you had to pick 3, that's the next thing I want you to start thinking about. Did anyone have a fun realization in this exercise that like they realized their value already drives a lot of what they do? Yeah, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, I already kind of do this. That's really kind of fun. You kind of discover the through line. Now, the rest of you who didn't see that already, I bet you're going to start seeing that, and it's really going to be an amazing, empowering experience. So now that we've talked about values, okay, got this base root layer going here. Let's talk about how you start to branch out and build that complex root network, and that's about developing skills. Okay, so back to me, because John Michelle asked me to talk about me. So these are the skills that I have learned and built along my career and my journey. I talked about some of that when I gave you the overview of like how I got here. But I wanted to kind of talk about them a little bit, because these are kind of harder to delineate and to define. And they're very different for every person, right? So for me, relationship building was actually the first way that I was able to get a job, period, right? Like that first opportunity to get into Salesforce was because a friend of mine, right? And then relationship building is the way that I met Sarah. And then like totally opened up this incredible growth opportunity for me. It is invaluable as well in my current day-to-day work, because what do? I find amazing trailblazers like you and help understand their stories and then amplify those to help others, right? It's all about relationship building. That's why it's been so fun to be here and like endless hugs and meet new people. Storytelling has been a really important skill for me, because way back when I was working for that nonprofit, I did a lot of translating really nerdy technical concepts into plain language. Also did that when I was working with technology communications, right? Working on trust and working on, communicating to admins when we were making changes. That has proven to be an invaluable skill for me to continue to develop, because that's what I do. When you see me in a video, you hear me on the podcast, I'm helping people tell their stories. Project execution, that's kind of, you have to do that because we have to get a lot of things done. But it's been proven really invaluable for me. And let's be real, sometimes I've learned that I'm not really good at executing certain projects. I remember when Sarah charged me with building a website, and needless to say, the project got handed to somebody else eventually. I know my strengths, but I'm really good at executing other kinds of projects. Now, navigating ambiguity. Does this give anyone anxiety as they see this? I know you're lying, because it gives a lot of people anxiety. It's really hard to work in a space where you don't know where the wind is going, what the rules are. To me, I thrive in this space. I feel creative, I feel opportunity. Not everybody feels that way. But this has been a very important skill for me. And technical expertise, I struggled with this. I told you I worked at Salesforce for a few years before I really knew what Salesforce was, right? Now, thankfully, I can explain most of it, I think. But technical expertise that's been the hardest thing for me to develop, because I'm not necessarily what I consider to be a technical person. And when people tell me that, I'm like, you're lying, you're wrong. But that's a perception I had. And how did I overcome that? I really chose to stay close to the product at Salesforce, stay close to the engineering teams, stay close and listen to the community and understand what you were trying to teach me. And I did take ADM 201 a second time. And then I did pass my admin exam. So it is possible that if you don't, if it doesn't work the first time, it can happen for you. But that has been a skill that's been really hard for me to develop, but it has paid off immensely. And then content production. For me, knowing how to produce content and get it out there is literally my job. And I've made it my job. And it's something I really enjoy, and it's something that I found I can do pretty well. And I've learned a lot of different ways to produce content. Okay. So let's have a talk a little bit more about how developing skills go, right? Look, another tree metaphor. So this is a cross-section of a coastal California redwood. You see the tree rings. I think most of us know that every ring represents basically a year of growth of the tree. Now, if you look, the spaces between the rings are pretty irregular, right? You've got like some like really big rings, and then you've got some kind of tinier ones. You got some like big opening scars over here. I point this out because developing your skills happens in spurts. It is in response to the environment in which you're in. For me, I had massive growth when I met Sarah, and we were just building this program and just trying everything, and I was testing out skills that I didn't know I had and learned I didn't have them. I wasn't going to get them, but other ones I got. That was massive periods of growth for me. But then there's been other times in my career where I maybe not growing so much, but what I have is those skills to stand on and kind of get sturdy and really rely on those to help get through some of those challenging times. And I want you to really think about that, because let's be real, the economy is a little scary right now, right, in some ways. I personally had like 4 friends and my sister laid off within the last month. It's hitting tech in a wave that's a little later than hit everybody else, right? So it's a time to really kind of rely on those skills and know that you have this strength, this trunk, this base, that maybe there's not a lot of opportunity for growth. I mean, it happens, it comes in ebbs and flows, but you've really got to stand on those amazing values, the values and the skills that you have to help you get through it. Another kind of, to extend the tree metaphor, I told you redwood trees have a very extensive root system. They actually talk to each other. Yeah, they don't actually talk to each other, but they send signals to each other. In fact, when one tree is encountering a stressor, like a parasite or they're not getting enough water, it communicates that to other trees, and other trees will either have like a chemical response so that they can defend themselves from that pest or from that parasite, or they'll actually share water and resources with each other. It's pretty phenomenal. I think it's an amazing metaphor for using the community and your network to help you develop your skills as well, right? Maybe you're weak in an area. You're figuring out that, I'm really trying to develop this, but I'm not that good at it. Tap into your network. This is really where, leaning on your mentors, leaning on your peers, your friends, they can help you develop skills. In fact, kind of that's the whole concept of the Trailblazer community, right? Is helping each other learn how to do the job, right? Now, one thing I want to point out here is don't get lost. I have gotten lost many times along my journey of building skills and trying to build an impactful career. In fact, one of the biggest ways I got lost was my early days at Salesforce. I would see these amazing keynotes and be like, oh, that'd be so cool to be on stage and in the lights. It looks so fun. I just want to do that. So I tried. I asked all the people I thought were in charge, and I pushed. I even got like my managers and everybody to support me and be like, Gillian should have an opportunity to do this. And they're like, why? I was like, well, because I want to. They're like, cool, get in line. And I was really, really devastated about that. I was like, why am I not getting an opportunity? I know I'd be great at that. But the reason I wanted to do it was because it looked fun, it looked shiny. It wasn't about the impact I was going to be delivering doing that. So I actually hunkered down and I focused more on my storytelling. I focused more on the kinds of content I was creating and honed those skills and focused on amplifying others and being able to help amplify others' stories. And then guess what? The opportunities came my way. Because they then knew Gillian knows a way to help represent these stories on a stage, represent them on a broadcast, be an authentic, trusted person who can speak to these audiences. At least I hope you all feel that way. But that's what opened the door for me. And so that's when I got lost, right? I was chasing the shiny object without really paying attention to the values, right? So don't get lost. It's really easy. And that's when that network that you have can help keep you in check, right? Help you find some blind spots, give you some maybe tough but honest feedback. And that's the most valuable feedback. And I have one more story I'm going to tell about trusting mentors, because does anyone know the term voluntold? Okay, so this is a combination between being told to do something and volunteered to do something. And I really like it because it has happened to me many times in my career. I'm also really good at doing it to other people. A lot of you know that. So I remember I had a manager, Mary Scotton. Some of you might remember her. She was an incredible product leader at Salesforce, and she was managing the evangelism team. This was 2016, 2017. And I had just recently passed my admin exam, was really developing that technical expertise. And she's like, hey, Gillian, I want you to go teach a all-day technical workshop to girl develop it, to teach them how to build on Salesforce. And I was like, oh, what? Me? I barely just passed my exam. What are you talking about? I can't do this. Major imposter syndrome moment, right? I'm not the expert who can be trusted to teach this classroom of women who are trying to learn Salesforce. I'm going to screw it up. They're not going to know. I'm just going to be a massive failure. And she was like, nope, you're doing it. I signed you up. You're going. I was terrified. I was so oh, I can't screw this up. I really, I have to be good for these ladies. I taught the workshop. And a few months later, a few of the ladies got certified. And some of them have even gone on to present on stage at Dreamforce. So I was terrified, but I did it. And I did it because Mary voluntold me to do it. So when your mentors tell you to do, voluntold you to do something, do it. Trust yourself. You're going to have imposter syndrome no matter what you do. I think it's just the nature of everything. So just be cool, you're there, bye. I tell that story because I think a lot of us get put in situations where you're expected to be the expert, or you feel like you have to be the expert. You don't have to be. All you have to be is good enough to share what you know. There's a reason you're getting put in those positions. Okay, so if you're wondering, where can I get an idea of what skills to build? Well, guess what? I have a resource for you. So this last year at Trailblazer DX, we released the Salesforce Admin Skills Kit. Who has seen this already? Okay, so just the people in the front, the good students. I got it. So you in the back there. So this is a resource. Now, I know it's the Salesforce Admin Skills Kit, but I guarantee you these skills are relevant no matter what your role is within the Salesforce ecosystem. They may be slightly different, but this is a great framework for you to start maybe identifying some skills that you want to develop and hone. And great news, because we developed a skills kit, we have resources for each of these skills about what it looks like to have a learner's mindset in the Salesforce ecosystem, about what it means to have business analysis skills as a Salesforce administrator. And in the skills kit, you'll find definitions of what these skills mean within the context of having a Salesforce role, and sample language that you can use in a resume, use in maybe when you're writing your promotion argument, documentation. If you're writing a job description, we have sample language that helps you represent these skills in that way. And we have resources to help you further develop those skills. And in fact, a lot of those resources are created by you. Guess what? So we have an incredible 14-part blog series that Mark Jones helped put together. And I think we have at least 3 people in this room who help write these blogs that focus on these specific skills within the context of being a Salesforce admin. And again, I'm just going to be very clear. This is relevant for anyone, regardless if you're an admin, an architect, developer, ISV. These are relevant. So great resources. In fact, because this is all about amplifying your impact, I'm going to amplify some others right now. So Mark and Vicki, can you come on up here just for a second? Big round of applause. So Mark and Vicky were contributors to the Salesforce Admin Skills Kit and wrote some of those incredible blogs. So I just wanted to, of course, put you both on the spot. Again, being voluntold. Yeah. We plan ahead of time. So Vicky, I wanted you to talk a little bit about maybe a specific skill that's really helped you in your career deliver impact.
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I wrote the blog on designer's mindset, but I'm not going to talk about that one. So I thought about it for a while, and actually I'd say that training is one skill set that has always come back, and it's something that has always come back to the value side of it. Like, wherever I go in my world, I always come back to the training part. So.
Thank you. And Mark, since you helped come up with kind of the concept for this series, can you talk a little bit about how you've seen the role of skills kind of play out in creating an impactful career?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I guess just to give a little bit of brief context very quickly on why the idea for the series came up. Saw this announced at Dreamforce 2 years ago, and it was like kind of in the polite sense dangling the carrot. I was like, okay, this is great. Can we please explain these to the rest of us communities? But in terms of going forward and seeing how this has really helped, recently had a mentee through another program I helped with, and we talked quite a bit about the admin skills in that. And she recently got a job at a non-profit, which is really, really great to see. She's doing really well at that, and she's really enjoying that. But being able to contribute to those conversations, if you went to say like the Dreamforce and you talked to people at the stand on the skills kit, there was lots of interest and conversations around that. Even just had a conversation about it today as well. So just being able to help people to understand what these skills are and help them to understand how they apply them, and essentially how most of you will actually be building them without necessarily even thinking about the skills massively in depth. You'll be doing your work day in, day out, and you'll be building these skills naturally as you go.
Well, thank you both for contributing to the skills kit, and thank you for letting me bring you up on stage and put you on the spot. So round of applause for Mark and Vicky. I mean, I can't have a whole presentation about amplifying your impact and just have me talk to you the whole time. That's just not how I roll. So we've talked about our values. I didn't realize I left the build on the slide. Just, let me click through that. So we talked about figuring out what your values are, and then upon those values, letting those values help guide the kind of skills that you develop. And let's go back to kind of this amplifying your impact, right? We've got the roots. They're connecting with other roots. They're connecting into this forest. They're building this really strong tree trunk. But what are you seeing on the tree? What are those leaves? What are those branches? Because that's what you're seeing. When you're seeing the impact of others' work, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the leaves, right? Oh, they have this shiny thing that everyone can see. But think about what it took to create that, right? It's not about just focusing on that end piece. I want you to think about when you see somebody publish a great piece of content or deliver a good presentation or just be visible at all. Think about not, I want to be that. Think about why they're doing it and the impact it's having, right? I'm constantly going through that. That's why impact is my number one value, because I need to remind myself it's all about the impact that you're making. It's not about the end, not about the leaves that you're producing. It's about the impact you're making. So, because we have more tree funds, I want you to think about what you are going to leave. Sorry, that one was just really bad. Unbelievable, right? Okay. But think about, what are your leaves going to be? And when they fall off that tree, who are they hitting? Who are they affecting? Who are they impacting? What's the work that you're doing that is going to help someone else and make a lasting impact on your community, on your company, on your family? I mean, this is really, I think, a really powerful thing to think about. And something else to remember. Those leaves, they change. Jessica and I the other day just went walking along the river, Seine, right? Is that how you say it? The Seine? Okay. I'm really bad at French. I pronounce it everything like it's Spanish because that's the only other language I know. But we were walking along Seine, and one of the streets just had all of these beautiful, huge leaves just fallen on the ground and the trees are getting bare because it's seasons. And the way you amplify your impact will also be seasonal. There'll be times that you have big, beautiful green leaves to show and everyone's looking at them. And then there'll be times when the tree's kind of bare because you know what? You're working on your skills. So it's not a permanent thing. It's a constantly evolving, constantly growing, constantly changing process. And with that, here you all get your own tremendous impact grid. So I am actually going to, yeah, Jessica's the only one laughing at this point, which means I'm killing it. Thank you, Jessica. So I will pull this out and make it a PDF and make it available in the WOZA app, or is it Wo? Sure, great, that one. Just, yeah, rocking it. I did wake up at 4 a.m. today and couldn't go back to sleep, so blaming part of it on that. I will put this in a way that you can all access it and fill in your own. You don't have to have the same amount of boxes that I have, but this is a framework that I think is really helpful, and I really hope that it helps you understand the impact that you're making and how to amplify that, how to build it in a really great way. And I'm going to stop standing in front. I just realized I've been standing in front of all my slides the whole time. But I think, I really want you to think about this. And here's what I also want to say. The reason I made that a hashtag, if you're comfortable sharing it, share it with me on Twitter. Share it publicly. I really think that by sharing what your values are, the skills you're focusing on, that helps inspire others to do the same thing, right? Amplifying your impact. See, there's a theme here. So I would love you to share it. If you just want to share it with me, share it with me. Send it to me. You can find me on all the platforms. But I really want you to think about this, and maybe not tonight because we're about to have cocktails, but next week, and especially as you come in towards the end of the year, right? This is a time we kind of take stock of where we're at, what we want to do next. And so I really hope that this framework helps you really figure out how you can, create that, amplify that impact that you're making, and really doing it for the right reasons and helping your values guide you in that journey. All right. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Gillian. Thank you. A round of applause again for Gillian. So thank you for that. So I hope you've learned a lot. So on my side, I would take one thing. So I have learned that I'm still working on my skills. Thank you. Is that yeah? Because I'm bored. So whatever, whatever. Cool. So here we are. We should be good in a second. That's the interesting part starting, guys. So we want to thank the two sponsors that we got for the happy hour on backup. Texay, we are very, very close. You feeling ready for that? But before I want to thank you, everybody. So the first, definitely the team. Can the team please come on stage with me? Can you please, guys? So I used to say and explain that believe me, I'm doing nothing. They are doing almost everything. They just ask me to take decision from time to time. And being the guys that say, oh, you have to wake up at 6:30 and be leaving at the venue at 7 and this kind of thing. But in fact, when I arrive here, I just let them do the work, and they are doing an amazing job, and definitely please applaud them again. So if I try to remember everything that we said, I hope that we have been successful and working really hard for a year of time also. and definitely working on that, on the roots, and making this thing happen. And today you see the leaves of it. It took hours, days, weeks, and definitely we hope that all the leaves that you've received today are worth it. So we need yeah, you can stay or go as you want. The other people that we need to thank definitely the sponsors, and definitely without them nothing is possible. we we don't have money on our pockets. Everything that you eat, everything that you see, everything that you enjoy today is because of the money that they are giving, and it's because of the Salesforce ecosystem. So it's the way it works is also to see them, and this seems to be very happy about having you, explaining you, and you seems very happy to have heard about that. So that's something that is really important to understand, that there is a loop here, and the loop that creates values, and we try to do that. So talking about values, what we love at French Touch Dreaming, and it's not only me, it's totally the team. We definitely want to thank other people that are doing great things. So I just want you guys to see first a video, and I tried to have that as automatically subtitled in English, so you may have mistakes, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna understand the whole thing, and we're gonna talk about that later. You ready? So please read that.
Honnêtement, je me suis senti orphelin en fait. Ce sont des inconnus qui vont essayer de nous prendre en charge au mieux. Normalement, c'est la famille qui fait ça, qui nous soutient et tout ça. Là, c'est des travailleurs sociaux, des bénévoles et c'est ahurissant quand même.
Le refuge héberge et accompagne ces jeunes rejetés par leurs parents parce qu'ils sont gays, lesbiennes ou transgenres. Alors faites un don à la Fondation Le Refuge. Aidez-nous à les aider.
So I have been just super emotional when I have understood that in France, in 2022, you still have families that just reject their son, their daughter, or whoever just because they are different. But for me, they are just normal. They are just gay or lesbian or whatever, and they just put them away, and they are just like make them disappear of their life. Okay? And so we are very lucky today to being able to put with me on stage someone from Le Refuge, and I want you to hear this story and what they do, and so please welcome Le Refuge on scène.
Thank you very much.
Please go on.
Yeah. So it's not easy to just to be the last one and talking about this topic, and especially after this very energetic and inspiring speech from and keynote from Gillian. So I'm Christophe Margen. I'm the CFO of the Refuge, and actually part of my career, if I talk a little bit of myself, I went first from big corporation, big manufacturing companies, and now I dedicate my life as an employee, as a CFO in this non-profit organization. So what we're doing at the Refuge, quickly, I'm not going to be giving too many numbers, but just so you know that we are helping around 700 kids per year. When I say kids, it's young adults from 18 to 25. So young adults that just because they are gay, lesbian, bi, transgender person, they are just getting kicked out of the family. So you heard things from families saying, you no more my son, you no more my daughter, you are dead. So they are just on the street. And now what we're doing at the Refuge, so we're trying to help them to have an accommodation, to find, to help them to reconstruct, because it's such a trauma that they are going through. And thanks to multiple partners, we're trying also to find them apprenticeship, jobs, and so on. And we have a national phone line in France, and we're getting around 7,000 calls from young adults just calling us, and we really want to focus on this line because sometimes it's the line where to avoid them maybe to do something that will be very, very bad. I was thinking of a word in French, but I cannot find it in English. Irréparable. But so the things, you cannot fix it anymore. You can imagine. So at the refuge, yes, we have 20 offices are structured in France. We have around 70 accommodation in France to help those young adults. I try to be short.
Yeah, that was fantastic. It's so be recognized. Thank you for everything that you do.
It's me. I'm very thankful that thankful to the French Touch Dream team and the Salesforce community to help us and to be part of this non-profit.
So you can use the QR code there and you can give money. And you know what? I hope that some of you have already given some money, but in fact, you don't know it, but you already did. Can you bring that? So we are happy on your name to give to Le Refuge 5,000
Wow.
euros.
Wow. Thank you.
That's not me. That's all of you. The sponsors, every tickets, everybody in the room. You're part of that. If you want to give a little more, don't hesitate. I mean, I'm still having no money on my pocket today, but please. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you
You're
very
very
much.
welcome.
Thank you all.
It's not a real one. He didn't know it's not a real one. So, now it's going to be the contest winners. So we had several different things that are going on today. We already have done some count. We had winners that give back the prize to someone else, and he's standing up in his living room, by the way, because he don't want to win anything. But so, who do have the list? We do have the list. Yep, please come on stage. So we're gonna call the winners in a very digital way.
Okay, we had a contest related to the photos. Some of you posted it through the Wova app. So for the photo contest, it's Vonage. Where are you? Come.
Yeah, so thanks
to Vonage.
we have to thank Vonage to give some crazy things again.
What do you offer for this contest?
Well, a photo contest, my gosh. It wasn't a difficult thing to think of. So it's an Polaroid Now Plus to get some instant photos. And there are some things to put the thing and some papers for printing out. Sorry for the English, obviously, not my mother tongue.
No problem. So the winner for this contest is Mahmoud Rageh.
Is Mahmoud? Cool. Thank you, Vanette.
We had also another contest for the leaderboard with the one with the main activities or posting, tweeting, and that kind of things.
The most active ones.
Yeah, the most active one. And this is Get Marcel giving, I'm myself also. I'm also from Get Marcel. Giving this gift. Which one is it?
It's a Marshall portable player. If I
Woohoo!
so that you can listen to the podcast of Gillian Y Crónicas de Salesforce in Spanish from Sarah.
Okay. The winner is Thomas Tunen.
And okay.
Then you all visited the sponsor, or many of you did. We had also a contest for the main stamped people. And this is one gift offered by Get Accept. Where is the Get Accept team?
Is guest accept team here?
No?
No.
Okay, I will play the Get
So
Accept team.
we will give it for them.
Okay.
So plenty of things.
Okay, so ebony, of course, we're in winter. And then you also have a smart box. So basically you can choose
Woohoo!
whatever you want with that. And the winner of this contest was Dario Piperkowski. Wait. Dario. Thank you. Okay, there are also sponsors like me and my associate giving gifts.
Winners. So this was a contest of Get Marcel. And some of you subscribed on the app or
I know what people want to win. I know that people want to win that bear. Don't you?
no, this is a unique one. So we have 3 Salesforce plushies to give away, and we picked. Well, it's random, of course. So we put all the names in a thing, and the wheel turns and gives us. Okay. So the first winner is Amen Sassy. So we have Cody, we have Astro Yeti, and we have Happy. Which one you get? Yeah? Yeah, go ahead. Congratulations.
Happy for the win.
The next one on the list is Franck Dupuis. Where's Frank? Congratulations. Go ahead, pick one. Oh, perfect. Cody, you're a developer, right? Congratulations. And the last one is Marie-Laure Gomis? What you? Marie-Laure Gomis. At the back, yeah.
What's she gonna pick?
Congratulations.
And I think we're done.
Okay, super cool. So, next thing, guys, are you ready? Put your phone out of your pocket. Put it in your hands, please. Okay? And do you have an agenda? Because I have something for you. We are going back in that place on the 13th of November 2023, so please save the date. Okay? So you are all talking that in picture. Do you have your camera on? Because you can now buy tickets right away. We got only 50 early bird tickets. The cost of that is 25 euro. It's going to be 100 euro. So if you want to be there, if you're happy about what you've seen, and if you want to show us some love, just book some tickets right away. That will make our day, okay? And as soon as you have bought a ticket, you will be good to go and to have. Sorry. You need a code? Oh, what is the code? What is the code? So this is okay. So FTD 22 attendees. Okay, so I have to write that. Was almost perfect. With dashes? Oh, dashes, sorry. Like that? Okay. Okay. So why you can buy a ticket, we have one more prize to give.
Yes, surprise, surprise.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for that.
So, explain.
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Drew Neerman, go-to-market lead at Capstorm. Thank you so much to the French Touch Dreamin'. Again, we have two prizes to give away here. And, of course, I left the list of names on my little booklet. Just a second. So I'm going to let you lust after the Nintendo Switch first. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Okay, so for the stainless steel coffee cup, the winner is Simon Godzin. Hope I said that correctly. Simon Godzin.
Simon here, yeah.
Perfect.
It's not done. It's not done.
Awesome. Congratulations. Hope you enjoy it. And the Nintendo Switch, apologies if I get the name wrong, Mehdi Guimar. Did I say that correct?
And
Mehdi Guimar?
If Mehdi is not here, we may make someone.
Yeah, they
else
need to
win.
be present in the room. Yep.
He has to be present in the room, so
Okay.
too bad for him. So do you have another
Sorry.
name?
Yep, we do.
Okay.
Anna Matvechuk.
Is Anna here?
Okay,
Ooh.
perfect. All right. Oh, looks like we're posing for a picture up here. So.
I know.
Right here. Thank you, Jean-Michel.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And we have a missing winner, so we'll try to find him or her.
Sorry, we had a Venage raffle, and Mr. Domenico Giarnetti won a virtual reality helmet. He's here. Oh. I thought he had left.
That's enough.
That's the date. And one more thing. It sounds like Apple. And one more thing. Okay, woo. A MetaQuest. Okay, and the winner is?
Andre Van Kampen.
Is Andre here? Is Andre? Andre is here. Cool. Nobody want to give something? You good? Okay. So now it's time for drinks. Thank you a lot. Enjoy. We are open until 10 p.m. So stay with us as much as you want. And see you next year there as well. Thank you. Thank you.